Okay, everyone, welcome. This is the variance hearing for 3518 Shepherd Street. The applicants, Caitlin and Andrew, are online, as well as four of my council members, and I believe Andrew is on his way. We're gonna walk through the process here of what's gonna happen, and then I will have a quick presentation to explain the application that we received, and then the applicants will have an opportunity to present their case for this variance. The council will have an opportunity to ask questions. Interested parties or neighbors will be able to ask questions and make comments. There will be the applicant's rebuttal if they have any thing to add or questions to answer. And then we will close the record and the council will deliberate amongst themselves and make a final vote. So that's the process. Is there any questions off the bat about that? I do see that Doug, our buildings administrator, is online, as is the applicant's builder, Bob Arthur. So thank you both for joining. And we have, looks like only one resident at this point. So thank you all for being here. We have received one, just this afternoon, we received one letter of support of this variance, so we can enter that into the official record after the fact as well. And I'm going to share my screen and show you the application that we received. In summary, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is the county tax record, just kind of showing you where the property is to start with. Mm-hmm. And then this is the actual site plans for the place that's been very nicely color-coded for us here, showing where the existing house is, which is a corner lot, which means it has two front streets on Shepherd Street and Brookville Road. The purple here shows the current house that is non-conforming to the code. This house was built before the current code. And the yellow part here shows where the two-story addition will be and the part that will be non-conforming to the existing code. Section 7402 of the village code under setbacks, under the front setbacks, which again, there's two fronts here, states that except as otherwise set forth in this chapter, no wall or projection of any main building shall be located closer to any front lot line than the established building line or 25 feet, whichever is greater. This is greater than 25 feet. Their proposed addition is greater than 25 feet, but as I'll show you on the next page, the established building line is 48.8 feet. And that's because the way we calculate the established building line is looking at all of the houses on the block, excluding the corner lots. So we look at everyone down here along Brookville and we see that 40.8, the current house is 30.3. And the addition will also be in front of that established building line for this kind of odd shaped corner lot. So that is my presentation and explanation of this application. The applicant is requesting for 10.3 feet of variance for that established building line. And that concludes my presentation. Are there any questions based on that? Hearing none, we can go ahead and open it up. Caitlin and Andrew will let you make a statement. And if Bob Arthur wants to come off mute, he can, and he can speak as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules. We really appreciate it. So my name is Caitlin, and this is my husband, Andrew Brancaccio. We bought our home 7 years ago, and both the buyer and seller real estate agents confirmed that we would be able to add to the back of our home but not towards Brookville Road. So we lived in our home. We love the area. We love Martin's Addition. We love the classic architecture and the quaint vibe of it. And we lived in our home with minimum updates because we were saving for a future addition for our growing family. We have two little kids, one 4-year-old and one 2-year-old, and our home as most of you I'm sure know, is feeling a little bit smaller than when we first moved in. So our addition plan has been approved by Montgomery County and is well within the county's regulation setbacks on both sides of Brookville Street and Shepherd Street. After submitting the approved plan, Martin's Addition board requested an EBL, which is the average difference, as you all know it, as Michael explained. But we were only allowed to use the 6 homes north of us and none towards Brookville Market. This EBL came back at 39 feet, which is 9 feet further than our existing home structure, which is why we're here today. So we're asking you to support our variance request. As explained below, Martin's Addition requirement of the additional 9-foot setback to our home, which was built before the Martin's Addition EBL requirement was implemented, is inconsistent with the location of other homes that abut Brookville Road and would greatly diminish the value of our existing property. Our addition would be on the back side of our home on the existing established building line of our home. We understand we don't want to go anything further. That's not what we intend at all. So the proposed 39 feet setback means that this addition would only be half the width of our home, which is very narrow to begin with. The addition would also look far less attractive. And most importantly, we wouldn't be able to add a second bedroom a second bathroom or a third bedroom upstairs. Our children are currently sharing a room upstairs, and it's been an interesting but we are very grateful to be living in such a great neighborhood. So, and our current home currently just has a total of 2 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. One of the full baths is on the first floor. And lastly, there are other homes that face or are about Brookville Road that are closer to Brookville Road than our home. So we hope that you can take that into consideration when you all are deliberating. We've also notified our direct neighbors, and we've sent out an email. They have not given us any objections. They've been supportive, and Bob Arthur, who's our architect, is also online, our builder. We want to work with you all. We know that this is a corner lot. We are planning on using our side yard as for the trucks to be in our side yard. Our main goal is to make our house look very nice and curb appealing. We'll be doing some new landscaping. So our side yard is going to be used for the construction trucks, which I think will alleviate a lot of the traffic. And Bob, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, can you hear me at this point?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, basically, we were kind of blindsided when we went through the permitting process, but we feel like the lot is an unusual shape. It's a corner lot, which we were aware of in the beginning with the 2 front yard setbacks. We weren't aware of the EBL requirement at that point. But the lot is a very unusual shape. You can see that it tapers down and toward the back of the house, which further restricts the EBL setback. We are inside of the existing structure with the addition. It's 1 foot inside on the Brookville Road side, and we're trying to maintain that look throughout the addition to the existing house. Yeah, you can see the tapered lot, how it tapers in toward the back of the lot and toward lot number or 6817. So it's very restrictive in that regard. The two lots that are joining 6817 and 6815 are narrow, deep lots and not really indicative of a typical home along Brookville. They're set much further back because of their configuration, and given that we're joining that perpendicular to them, it's a difficult situation for the EBL setback for us. We don't feel like that's a typical lot configuration along Brookville Road.
Good.
And Bob, I know you did enter some plans and things into the record. If you want to share your screen, I have enabled that, so you can if you would like to.
Okay, that'd be great. So let's look at the elevations if we can. See if I can get them up here. Is that coming up on the screen?
No.
No.
All right, let me, I probably have to hit share screen somewhere on here.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Share screen. That would be that.
If not, I can share the files that you shared with me.
Okay. Why don't we bring up the north and west elevations, and that would be sheet A004.
Okay, we got it now.
That's my screen you're
Okay.
seeing.
Oh, that's yours. Okay.
There's
Right. Well, what we're looking at here, this elevation to the west elevation, that will be the new elevation along the Brookville Road side. The front elevation is going to be, it's going to be a two-story addition with the section out the rear. Again, this is inset from the rear, but this is what you would see from the Brookville Road side would be the west elevation. Let's see, the site plan there, probably go to sheet, Michael, if we go to sheet, that'd be A02. That'd be the floor plan. That's it right there. So that's the floor plan along, again, here, this would be to the right side of the drawing. This side of the drawing would be the Brookville side. Again, this addition is inset from the existing, here's the existing face of the house. We've inset that addition on both sides. So it's not going to protrude further out than the existing house. It's going to be inset within the existing footprint. We're not going that far back. It's a modest addition to accommodate the growing family.
okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to add before we open up to her council questions?
I think we're good there.
Okay, thank you. Council, are there any questions from the five of you that are on the phone?
I'm just going to note that Ron suggested we advise the applicants should we have gone by. I did do a site visit, a couple of site visits actually, and I stopped by the office today to take a look at the larger scale plans because they're much easier to view for my aging eyes. And that was very helpful. I think that's it at this point. There are definitely no neighbor opposition opposition indications on file. Is that right? No communications from any neighbors.
That's correct. We've received one positive
And Jean is on,
pro this and 0 against.
right?
And we'll get to resident comments after the council questions.
Just checking. Okay. That's it.
Katie has her hand up.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Caitlin. First and foremost, I commend you for trying to work with your existing house, as opposed to a tear down, to achieve your renovations. Those are always my favorite additions in the Village of Martin's additions, because I like that you're trying to maintain the character of the home. So, I guess I had 3 questions. It looks like you're still maintaining the facade of the existing home and just building that. So is that correct? The footprint's not changing. It's just all back.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
That's great. I love when the character is maintained. Thank you.
I really appreciate you say that, because I think that our house does have so much character. It was built, I think, in 1932, and we've loved living there. We definitely did not want to do a knockdown, so we're thankful for Bob, and he was great with working with what we had.
And that's terrific. And I didn't really have any questions. I had 2 concerns, but I think they've been answered. Like Susan, I did walk by and do a site visit on my own. So yeah, first I always, wonder what your abutting neighbors, how they're doing. If there've been no issues or anything raised challenges, then that's a good sign. And you also addressed it's, as you said, you're in an interesting location on the corner there of Brookville and Shepherd. I was worried about the traffic and the vehicles that come with building, but you've addressed that. You said you're going to use your side yard. So,
Yeah.
yes. So I had questions and concerns, but you answered.
And separately, we are applying, I know Michael is aware of this too, but we are applying for a separate permit to move our driveway to our side yard. And so we understand that you all will be doing the Brookville Road sidewalk, and we are more than happy to help in any way we can. We are hoping that the timing of our driveway coincides with the sidewalk, so they can work all together and it can be very seamless. But we are definitely aware of that and want to make it as smooth as possible. But yes, so that's the reason why our contractor is actually going to be putting down gravel and making that a place to park his trucks, and so it won't be too. It will hopefully alleviate traffic.
Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking that extra step. Okay, thanks. No more from me.
Well, Jeff and Andrew have their hands up.
Jeff, go ahead.
Hello, thank you. First of all, just apologize. It's our daughter's spring break, and we are getting out of the white waters of the Shenandoah. So I'm just commenting as we're heading back into town. But Caitlin and Andrew, first of all, just really grateful to know that you're neighbors, and really appreciate, the idea of working to accommodate your growing family, beautiful family, and really, really grateful the idea that you're trying to do this. I know, and many of us know, you have many options to you, but to try and stay within our beloved village is just wonderful. And with that said, really grateful for your presentation, and Michael, your preparation. And I have no questions, and just want to comment that I think the one comment that was submitted in support of what they're doing was very heartfelt. And Michael, thanks for entering that to the record. With that, I'll turn it back over. Thanks.
Andrew.
Thank you so much, and Caitlin and Andrew, thank you very much for the presentation. And Katie asked a couple of questions that I had, so that those have been answered. Obviously, Brookville's a busy place, but you answered my questions in terms of just the traffic related to all the work. I just wanted to say it's a beautifully designed plan. It looks awesome. I'm really thrilled for you guys that you were able to do this. And again, associating myself with Katie's comments about staying in the village, not tearing down the place, but making it your home, and with a lot of character. And so I'm really, really thrilled for you guys and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I have one question. I'm looking at the building line property map. It's called Shepherd Street for EBL final. And Bob Arthur can probably answer this. Looking at the adjoining lots, on Brookville, it looks like the two of them are close to 200 feet long. And then the ones going down the street, there's two more about 150 feet. And I guess yours is, I'm estimating about 60 feet coming in. That's it. So the lots labeled yours, and then P12 and P13, that's 6817 and 6815, are probably about 200 feet in depth. Is that correct? Am I reading that right?
I would say it's correct. The dimension is not on the drawing,
No,
but
they
if you
don't,
look at the 50-foot dimension to lot 6815,
right,
that's about a quarter of the depth. So I would say that's a pretty accurate estimate. And we're at 48 feet entire depth along Brookville.
right. And then you're comparing it to a couple of 200-foot lots, and then the ones next to it at 6813 and 6811 Brookville are probably 150 feet, 130 feet. So it's natural that some of those houses would be built back from the road, even though two of them are closer than yours. So, we take the average when we do this calculation, and that's how the average comes out. So I just wanted to verify I was reading that those plot lines correctly.
Yes, we didn't survey the lots in their entirety, just the setback from the property
From
front
the
lawn.
property, right.
Yeah. And that was my observation, is that 6817 and 6815 are extremely deep lots. They're I mean, basically they're going back 3 lots along Shepherd Street.
Right. And Harry Martin, when Harry Martin was laying this out, he saw he could get 3 more lots out of that by chopping up that long one into 3 separate ones. So that's old Harry's work.
Yep.
Okay, that's my question.
Jeff, is your hand still up, or shall we move on?
I think that's up from where it was before. Gene has a.
Well, first, is there any other council questions? I want to make sure that we follow the process here. Thank you very much. Susan?
I might have just one quick follow-up on, you mentioned that you would be doing landscaping, and given the fact that if this is approved, your house would take up a substantial portion of the lot.
No, it wouldn't.
I
didn't see that, did you?
Well, it would. I just would ask that you be mindful of keeping plantings, vegetation, permeable surfaces, etc., in mind.
Definitely, yes. No, and we don't have landscaping. I think that was a general thing. We will be planting up, the construction trucks will be on our grass, so we'll be replanting grass or along that. But no, definitely, and we are happy to work with you all on landscaping regards as well.
And Katie?
Yeah, just one last quick question. I forgot, I did notice some trees around the back. Will there have to be tree removal too, and then arrangements to replant vegetation? Will that be involved with the addition?
Maybe
they were in your neighbor's yard, it looked like.
Yeah, the one tree is in our neighbor's yard, so we just have to cut the branches, but we've talked, we trim those on a regular basis anyways, because they kind of fall on our roof.
Yes, and we had this beautiful camellia bush
Mhm.
on the back of our house, and we've actually just we've moved it and replanted it. So as the most that we can use what we have and just replant it in regards to where you know, our addition is, that's our goal. When we had 4 beautiful hydrangea bushes, so in preparation, we moved them to the side of our left house. So, and we told our neighbor that. They were actually very excited because now they can look at the hydrangeas and the camellias. So, it was a win-win. We kept our plants, and it was a win-win. But for the most part, as Andrew said, we will be replanting what we have, rather than just taking it down.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, any other final council questions? Okay, so then we can open up to interested parties or neighbors and residents, which we have one online with their hand already raised. Gene Sperling.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for your presentation. I just had some interesting observations. We're across the street in an old 1905 house. And our lot was subdivided and created. It's much like what happened with the lot where you are. The lot of Brookville Road that runs back next to you was the 200-foot lot was one of the original. That was how Harry Martin built Martin's Additions. He loved 200-foot long lots. So the McGowans, I don't know their number, 30 foot, whatever the heck it is, because they're our neighbors, your next door neighbors. And the next 2 lots, the 200-foot depth was what Harry Martin loved. Okay, that's what he built. And then what happened was the debris, this is what I've understand, the debris that came off of building McGowan's property, okay, had those 3 lots, yours, your neighbor, and then the next neighbor up. They weren't built upon for a very long time because McGowan's house was turn of the century. Much like our house was, that's what they did. They took it and they eventually subdivided all the properties, the surrounding properties. So now we used to own everything around us. Now we own only our little lot. So it was the same thing, except that I understand that the debris from building your neighboring lot created the sort of odd lot structure that you guys have, as well as your other neighbors. And it was many years later that because the other one was 1905, yours was 1920, 1930. So they did the best they could do to build what they built. I think one of the most interesting things is tearing that house down, and I would imagine Doug Lohmeyer would tell you this is the case. Tearing the house down would not give you any more flexibility because you're bound by the original design and layout. And I see Arthur nodding his head because he knows the original structure, the original what? Footprint. That's what I was getting. My husband's got to correct me. The original footprint is what it is. So tearing it down is not going to help you because you still got to comply the original footprint. So between what Harry Martin had originally intended, the next door lots, the 2 next door lots confirm that. And the tear down is not going to buy you anything. Okay. So as neighbors across your street, I just want to tell you that we fully support what you're doing. And the most important thing I think that we as your neighbors and the town can do is make this as easy as possible for you, given the circumstances of history, that you have these funky lots. Probably originally were not supposed to be there on the mounds of the debris of the house was constructed before, that we support you 100%. And what I would love to be able to do is make sure that everybody knows you're there and that we'll accommodate parking spaces, that the neighbors are all excited about this happening for you. And just let us know what we can do to make it work for you. Okay, so we understand. And my husband's saying, absolutely, imagine that. So the husband agreeing with the wife. Okay, Bill. Anyway, so is there anything else, Bill, you want to add? No. So does that help anybody?
I hope you guys approve it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we appreciate it. And you know, since we won't be in our house, we'll have drinks on your porch now.
You got it.
There you go.
It's a deal. Actually, even before it's all said and done,
Anytime.
you can see when we're out there, okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
Andrew, did you have something to add? You're muted if so.
Andrew, unmute.
Apologies, I'm not whitewater rafting. I'm at a soccer practice with my kids here, but that reminds me, how long is I missed the beginning, so I apologize. How long is the project? How long is it? Well, it always goes, hopefully it's on time, but how long do you anticipate?
Yeah, they say 8 months, but so
8 months.
So 8 to 9 months.
Wow. Okay. Great. Well, I think what Gene said is probably what Harry would have said too. So I think based on Gene's relationship with Harry, they knew each other back in the day. But anyway, good luck with it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now there's an opportunity for an applicant rebuttal. There's not much to rebut there, but if you would like to make any final, statement, now's the time.
We just appreciate you all taking the time, and thank you for your comments. And thank you, Jean, for coming, and we really appreciate you as neighbors. And I will definitely, our builder is amazing, Bo Williams. He's been around for a long time. We'll give our neighbors his contact information. Also, even though we won't be living there, we'll be at my in-laws, which is actually right down the street. So we intend on checking on the house frequently. We want it ahead of schedule if possible. So we're definitely going to be on top of that. But we're available for anything, should anything come up.
Okay, great. With that, we'll close the record, so no more comments from anyone. Please don't submit any more evidence into the record. The record is closed, and the council members, do you have any deliberations amongst yourselves? And then we can hold the vote.
I have a comment. I find over the several variance hearings that we've had that the established building line, I've always found a curious addition to our building code. It's nothing fixed about it at all, and it can vary as new houses come in and old ones go down. The established building line can go in and out and back and forth. And I'm not sure, I kind of get an idea of why it was put in there originally, but I'm not a big fan of it. So that kind of sums up my my views on the subject. Any other council members have observations?
This is Jeff Blander. I just wanted to say that as a follow-up from this, I hope that we can incorporate the word funky into our code in honor of Jean's statement tonight. Over.
I don't think so. That seems like it might be a bridge too far.
Any other council comments or deliberations on this before we go to the vote?
This is just an observation, but I'm the only council member who lives on a corner lot. So I do recognize the special circumstances of having two front setbacks. And it does pose an inherent difficulty, an impediment at times to expansion. So are we voting now? Are we going to go ahead and state our views?
If there's no other deliberations amongst council members, then yes, we can hold the vote.
So I would just want to qualify my vote by saying that, as most of my council colleagues undoubtedly know by now, as a lawyer, I think that we have to work really hard to meet all the conditions that are specified in our code in order to grant a variance. I think otherwise our variances are no longer the exceptions, but the rule. I think this is the kind of case that variances were designed to address, because it seems to me like this is one of the applications we've seen in my term on the council in 8 years, or 8+, that most squarely fits the criteria without having to really think too hard about it. So I would vote in favor of granting.
Yeah, I would like to follow up with Susan and read in particular that the code says variance is the minimum reasonably necessary to overcome exceptional conditions. The conditions peculiar to the lot are extraordinary, would result in peculiar or unusual practical difficulties. So I agree with Susan that we should not be granting variances casually, but take those words from the code into account. But having taken those words into account, I also would vote to approve this variance. Other council members, Katie, Jeff, and Andrew.
In that order? Okay. Yeah, I'm not like about giving variances out like they're candy, but I approve of this plan. You have my vote, and I vote in favor, and I wish you the best of luck. And I appreciate that you looked out for your neighbors and the extra efforts you're making. So thank you.
Jeff, are you there?
I am. Well, I'll state I am not a lawyer. I don't have any pre-qualifications, and I vote a resounding yes. Over.
Thank you. Andrew.
Doesn't appear to be a nail biter or that I'm the tie-breaking vote. So it doesn't really matter. But I am strongly in favor. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. So the variance is granted. We will have our attorney write up the written variance early next week. And I'm reminded by our building administrator, Doug, that we still have to hold our residential informational meeting for this project, for the overall project, before we grant our permits. So we will try to schedule that in the next couple of days. And I know you're eager to get started, so we'll schedule that as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.